Ladies and gentlemen, it's not even me you have to worry about. T's got a rant coming up tonight. Y'all stick around.
Here to bring you the facts, data, and statistics up close and personal. Letting you decide if it truly is hate or debate.
Hold up, three-pointer. It's good. Wins the game at the buzzer.
What is going on? What is going on? Everybody that's out there having a going on. You already see who I'm back in the building with. The First Lady, a.k.a. TT. The First Lady of Hater Debate. You know we back live in the building. T, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. Doing good. Gotta
You look a little uneasy
on my
over there.
mind just a little bit. Just a
You
little
look
bit.
a little uneasy. You got something.
Just a
You
little
want to
bit.
get right down to business out here?
Just
Is
a
that
little
what
bit.
you want to do, T? Is that what you
know
telling
when
me?
when I send you a message, we got a problem.
Yeah. She said it. She said it. Go ahead and let
We
it
got a
out.
whole problem.
Let it
So
on out, man.
so first and foremost, good evening, Hater Debate Squad. Good evening, Hater Debate fans. I am TT, First Lady of Hater Debate. Now I'm gonna come with this disclaimer. This is my own personal rant. This is my own personal opinion. This does not reflect on any other member or podcaster that comes on this. Oh yeah, I got some beef. I got some beef.
She let the disclaimer out there.
And if you don't like my opinion or you don't like my take, please come. You hate it, debate it, whatever you want to do, but come. I will not back down from a conflict. I will not back down from conversation.
We leave the door open.
I
We do
will
leave the door open.
leave it open, and I take what I take, and if I'm wrong, I will admit. If your take is a different take, I'll admit. Now that I've got that disclaimer out the way,
Mm-hmm.
I
Talk
want to
to her.
talk about I want to talk about something that has been prevalent in the sports world since the opening day of the WNBA season.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we going, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
That's where the rant is. We diving in WNBA. Okay. I'm here. I'm not
WNBA.
going anywhere. I'm here.
Yeah. So this is all about the WNBA, and as a basketball fan who's watched basketball for years growing up. For a long time, all us females had was college and then look to go overseas. So 29 years ago, when the WNBA was started,
Mm-hmm.
it was something great because we as little girls had something to look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you talk about the WNBA, you talk about Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops, Cheryl Miller, Dawn Staley. You talk about some groundbreaking individuals
Mm-hmm.
who were on an Olympic team and helped bring that Olympic presence to the WNBA and therefore gave us something to look forward to and look at. And over the years, we have seen some greats come through. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. Oh my God. Griner is good. You
Mm-hmm.
have just the multitude of stars. Shamiqua Holdsclaw, Tamika Catchings, who ironically was when Indiana first came out and took Indiana in their heyday. Hence where we are today with
Mm-hmm.
the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. Now, granted,
I like where you going with this. I like where you going.
Let him cook now.
I like where you going. I like the build up.
granted, you have two players on each team who bring a lot of fan base, a lot of presence, a lot of heat, whether you like them or love them. Both players are good in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that folks are pitting these two players against each other when they do not play the same position,
Not even the same position, man.
that and that I have a problem with that. That's the first issue. Because if we're going to talk about goats and talk about people who are, good at certain things, everybody else we've put into position categories. In baseball, we put them into position categories. NBA, we put them into position categories. The NFL, we put them into position categories. For some reason, there's folks who want to put folks in the WNBA into like pit them against each other, and they don't even play the same position.
Yep.
That's
And
the first issue.
that's what I
Now,
was
when it
talking about with Huda on a couple shows ago. I was telling him that should be the new debate on
is
basketball, but especially on football and basketball, because it's a lot of people call it the GOAT, but you think about it. I mean, there's a lot of positions and records and stuff broken, but that doesn't mean you're the GOAT of the whole game. I mean,
correct, exactly.
so I
And
think it
so
should
when
be
you look at
positions if you're really gonna use that name. But go ahead, go
exactly,
ahead.
and when you look at the game from the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky game.
Hmm.
Now, say what y'all, people can say what they want, and all these newfangled fans of the WNBA and these, not to get offensive and sexist or misogynistic, these men with these talking points about how, oh, the WNBA is this, the WNBA. Truth be told, the WNBA is physical, always has been physical,
Yeah, way more.
always has been physical.
It's almost like playoff basketball every game that they play.
Exactly,
See,
and
but only
it's pick up ball
and T the
because we
only
had to play
people
on the thing.
the only people that say that is the people that really don't watch anything but highlights.
Hello, exactly.
All last summer we was from beginning to end that, and we ain't have no football. And like it's already like
It's
we said last
ex-
year. It's fun to watch. It's fun to do, man. They play such a
exactly.
specific game. That's why now I love the ratings.
It's
I
and
love to
it's
see that the
just
Aces sold out all year home
sold
games.
out.
It's
Aces sold out. The Valkyrie. Oh, we're gonna get to that. So we're
Yeah,
gonna get.
we
To,
are. I was just gonna say, go ahead,
I
get
gotta
that
get this
rant in.
off because when I
Get that
tell you
rant
this has been
in.
on my mind,
Get that rant in. Yep. Cause I see where you going. Go ahead.
when we get to that game, first of all, and what people don't see that play. Well, let's get to the play, and then we'll
Hmm.
break down the surrounding talk piece around it and why I have my rant and why I feel the way I feel. That play, irregardless. Now, when I played basketball, and when my dad played, and my cousins played, you was always taught you don't give up points.
Right.
If you gotta give up a foul, give up a foul. There's a difference between a foul and there's a difference between an egregious foul, and that was unnecessary.
Right.
Foul, yes, that was unnecessary because if you watch the play, yes, she fouls her. The refs got it right. She fouled her. And when you look at the play, the after fact, the push, the refs got it right because it was a hard. It wasn't a basketball play per se, but it was something it comes with the game. You know, there's
See, I wouldn't call
times
that. I wouldn't even call that a
there's
hard foul, T. I wouldn't
so
even call that a hard foul. You go ahead.
but
You go ahead, because like you
so
said, the referees
the
got
refs
that
got
right.
it right.
That wasn't a hard foul. She
It
did more
wasn't sure.
flopping and falling on
I
the
don't I
ground
don't
than the
think so.
foul.
I don't think so. And this is why I say and this is where I say what I say when I come to my rant when it comes to this point. If you look at it from the other angle and the way she pushes off, and Cece is known to push off in no matter what. If you see watch where she push off and you watch where how the arm flips back,
Hmm.
what people forget and realize, Angel hurt her wrist during Unrivaled and recently had surgery. And any misstep with that could have caused her to hurt herself and possibly out. Now, was the reaction probably a little over the top? Maybe. But when you've been dealing with all the background noise and trying to hold your head up high, and anybody who's gone into play at that arena, be anybody that goes in, like I've been watching the Atlanta Dream Indiana Fever game, and the Dream players are having trouble because it's like if they touch wrong, it's an issue. Every player has had an issue going into that arena when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have had a battle since the NCAA tournament, which is
Hmm.
where this all started.
Hmm.
And there are folks who both of them are good players in their own right. They play two different positions. They each are good and are good in the position that their skill set is for. The problem is you have people who all they see is I'm not even sure how to explain it without getting off getting heated. But you have people who take things and try and in a presence of pitting one against the other, you make it about a lot of the racist vitriol and whatnot that has come out of it. And we saw that last year. And we said that they were going to have to figure this out because you have people who were not true fans of the game, not fans of either player, but people who were taking their own separate agenda and trying to put forth a player who is a 22-year-old young girl. Both of these women are 22 years old. These are kids
Mm-hmm.
that are trying to figure out how to navigate life, fame, the whole nine with the NIL and everything that came at them in college. They're trying to navigate life. So you have this. So the fact that they had there, and there's different reports and different things about people saying inappropriate things at the game and whatnot, what have you. But it brings me to the point that I have is at some point the adults in the room need to figure this out. And when I say the adults in the room, I'm talking about the NBA who's used who they're supposed to be the big brothers to the WNBA. But if I had a big brother like the NBA, oh, give me no siblings because you're not trying to help. You're not trying to figure out. You're not trying to help guide and direct those who've never been GMs of teams or coaches to get them to where they are. Granted, the fan base has grown. Granted, the viewership has grown. I love the fact that the women's NCAA, women's college game has expanded to the point where they had more viewers than the men's the last couple of years. I love that Unrivaled has come in and kind of helped give us a little bit of in between because that 3-on-3 was an absolute genius idea by Brianna Stewart and Nafisha Collier. Brilliant idea. But to as the and I blame Kathy Engelbert because as the commissioner, you saw this happening last year.
Mm-hmm.
Things should have been put in place and kind of talked through every common collective players agreement, whatever the case may be, so that everybody can feel safe. Because at the end of the day, what you have now is a hostile work environment, regardless. And you put people, not just Angel, not just Angel, but any other player that may come in that have had these things thrown at them. You know what I'm saying? You put them in a place where it can be dangerous because we all know there are deranged fans of every sport, and people can be nutty. And in today's day and age, era, however you want to look at it, you got folks who elevators don't go all the way up to the top floor.
Right. I feel you when you say that's when adults need to step up in the room and stuff
Step
like
in the
that.
room and
But
start.
see,
Let's look at
also,
this from an objective point of view because even though
with
they,
that being said, Angel Reese and a lot of other players been beating the brakes off of Caitlin Clark. They really
but here's
have,
the
and it's no,
mm,
there is a here's to it. There sure is. But look at the size difference, and just hold on, calm down. I got you. I'm just 30 seconds into it. Just 30 seconds into it. But this isn't picking sides. When you pick sides, you say, okay, well, this person shouldn't have been called for this because this narrative was created. This person shouldn't have anything to say about this because of all they've been through. What they're going through right now is the WNBA. And
mm-hmm.
in the WNBA is a whole lot different than the NBA.
For
And
Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
Everyone in the
yeah.
arena.
Now,
You see how the arm, that's what I'm talking about with the arm. That's why I said that part where is the reaction. But here's the thing. What I don't understand and what people in this is where my other point was this same reaction and the same reaction is all y'all saying all this about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Nobody said anything when the girl did that to Asia Wilson and Becky Hammond daggone they had to come out on the court to get Asia because Asia popped up and came out her shoe.
I didn't say anything about it because I didn't
No, no,
see
no,
it.
no, not yeah, no, not saying you, but folks didn't say that. They both, everybody's gotten beat up, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong because they did. When Kennedy Carter hit that hard hit, yes, she deserves to get that. She deserved to get that foul or whatnot. Did she deserve all the
Yeah, I'm for I'm
death
for I'm
threats,
I'm for I'm
whatnot?
for fair. I'm for fair.
Yeah, I'm for
I'm for
fair.
fair. Yeah, I'm for fair.
Like when
I
they
mean,
played
I wasn't
and
saying
when
hers. I wasn't saying hers to take sides. But the
no
way,
when they and
go ahead.
when they played the Dream, when they played the Dream, and even if you go back to when Caitlyn played college ball, Caitlyn is a good shooter. Now, what I don't like about her is she tends to push off to get her shot off. But again, they're like I say, they're good players. If you're going to compare players, compare Caitlyn to Paige.
Right.
Don't compare Caitlyn to Angel because they have the same degree. But when you
Like on
have,
this right here, there's no reach through on it. If you think if
mm-mm,
she wouldn't have look if she would have let her go, she could have had a 3-point play. All she did was kept her
exactly,
head. All she did really was kept her. See what I'm saying?
yeah,
That that wasn't it wasn't. And you saw how she looked at her. She wasn't looking down or how some people brag. Yeah, get that out of
exact,
here.
exactly.
And I hate that the narrative that everybody's created between them two made it to where Angel Reese had to jump up like that. She knew that girl wasn't trying to fight her with that right there or
It
trying to
wasn't.
show
I
off.
don't think it was. It's and I don't think it. And this is where I disagree with everybody. It's. I don't. It has nothing to do with wanting to fight her. At the end of the day, when you have people coming at all that vitriol, and where if you ever watched a a interview, Caitlyn may get one or two questions, and then it's all about rest of the fever, whatnot, Caitlyn's job, whatnot. Every interview Angel has done, just about every time, there's always a question about Caitlyn Clark, and I think part of it is at what point does she's criticized for being her own person. She's criticized for this is a 22-year-old girl who's managed. She's into fashion. She's into this. She managed to pay off her mom's house. Caitlin Clark has done some amazing things when it came to scoring in college. She had a whole triple double. Angel had a whole double double, but that was overshadowed by all the think pieces and talking points that don't understand that at some point you have to. Everybody in this camp has to be protected. You have people who are using Caitlyn Clark's name in a vitriol way and using her name to spread nastiness and whatnot. And she hasn't figured out how to, speak up enough to have a voice to say, hey, don't use my name in that way. You have folks who are doing the same thing on the opposite end and saying, calling her Angel thug and whatnot, whatnot, calling and then calling the other players, black players, thugs and this, that, and the third. In a league that is one predominantly minority, but in a league where we've had to fight just to get a league and get some of the viewership and whatnot, you have this overshadowing it. Kelsey Plum had 30 something points in the opening game against the freaking Valkyrie. That's a whole nother issue for an expansion team to come out. They did some really shady and stupid crap with the way they did
It's
their
politics and everything. It's
it is
politics and
politics.
everything.
And then the
See,
other
like
problem that I have,
that is
that
that's
other
also
problem
what.
that I have
Go ahead.
is what a lot of people tend to, and ouch, a lot of people tend to, and maybe it's just me, tend to look at is they want to compare NBA to WNBA and that's you're comparing apples to oranges in a sense because
I don't think anybody's doing that. I
no
don't think anybody's doing that.
when you'd be surprised at some of the stuff I've come across and argue with on TikTok. When I say they compare to some the development and how they get the NBA draft is in what, June?
Right after basically right after the finals.
Season starts what, November,
Hmm.
October. These young ladies, they come out of college. The season ends what,
Yeah.
April? Season ends April. Draft is what, 2 weeks later. Camp starts 2 3 weeks later. Season starts right after that. They got to try and make it through camp and make it on a handful of teams because like the NBA, we don't have a G League. Handful of teams, and then they got to play through the summer. These girls' bodies are tired, so a lot of them. The fact that there's not a higher amount of injuries is amazing.
How many games do they play?
30, give or take. It was about maybe 60. Cause what?
Is that per
eh,
season?
Yeah.
They're tired.
Cause huh?
They're tired.
They're tired.
They're
But
saying
is
they're saying that in the NBA right now too after a 82 game season and then the finals the second round after playing 2 7-game series. They're saying they're tired.
And I believe it. But I'm like, at this point, my whole rant really is the
I
adults
can't
in the
I can't
room.
I can't give you the tired because look at what soccer does. They don't
Look,
stop running the whole game.
you couldn't get me to play hands down to soccer. You couldn't get me to play soccer a day of my life. That's 90
Look
minutes
at
on the field. I ain't
but I'm
running.
just saying, look at how many games, how long they play, and all they do is run. So I can't
Okay.
take that. I can't take that because that gets us away from them saying they want more. They're getting more as far as their publicity. You seeing more NBA
Yeah.
players out there. It was great to see Wimby out there at the game last night in Dallas.
I'm just
Seeing
saying,
more
give them a
support,
little
but
bit, give it a little bit more. Get at least give it a month to let them, because you're going from college to trying NBA
when
and
you say
all within literally
give them
at
a
least
month to do what?
at least a month,
To do what?
at least a month, because you got these girls who are who are seniors who are missing graduation because they're trying to make a W team, and maybe that's just
But
my
I'm
opinion.
asking.
And that's just
I'm
my
asking.
opinion.
No, I'm asking. Give them a month to do what?
At least rest, wrap up their stuff. Half of them missed their graduation because they had to go right into training. I'm not. I'm saying the same. Granted, they're competing with the bracket they're competing with is the NASCAR viewership, because that's what happens during the summer. So they're competing with the NASCAR viewership and baseball viewership. To that's the bracket we're competing with. That's just the real deal of it. I'm just saying
They're
I
beating
would
them.
like
They're beating
I
them.
would they're beating them. I would just like it from a medical standpoint. Maybe start a couple at least a month, because yes, they need to practice, but let mentally and whatnot. That's a jump. That's like going from high school. That's going from middle school to high school in terms of mentality and trying to understand.
But
Because I don't care
that's
how.
not for. But that's not for every team, and that's not for every player that's going to the NBA.
That's
That's like
true.
that. That's really for
That's
only the
true.
players that get to the Final Four. The other players are
That's true.
already rested. They're, you know what I mean,
That's
months out
true.
of it. But really, I hear you and I understand exactly where you're coming from. But we got man. T. If I could play basketball, you know how ready I'd be after that. I'd be ready to play the next day for that kind of money versus what I was making. And even if you
Mm,
add the NIL deal, that means you were making money in school. You were good enough, so you could have stayed. You
That's
could have
true.
chose to stay, but getting there, this is that sacrifice that they have to make. Not
That's
saying what
true.
you're saying is wrong, and that has a lot to do with sports all the time, but
Mhm.
that's what they let where the cards lay, where they fall, where the
Yeah.
chips may
Okay.
fall. Just for
I get
that,
what you. I get you.
because we both know because we see a lot of injuries in the NBA. Dame
That's
coming
true.
back, Dame getting hurt. You got come on, Uncle Drew out there coming back, getting hurt. I
That's
mean,
true.
AD just getting traded, getting hurt. Big
Getting
names are
hurt.
getting hurt left
Luca
and
getting
right.
hurt. So yeah.
You
So
know,
like I say, that's me from a That's my medical side.
right?
But at the end of the day, like I said, the adults. You have a WNBA commissioner who all of a sudden come up with this. Oh, we don't have no place for hate. Yes, that's great. But what are you putting behind it? Because this is gonna continue. You have to protect not just one player in your league. You need to protect all your players in the league. Make sure that help them understand how to make sure their names aren't associated with anything crazy. How to make sure that everybody in your league
And you talk about the
feels
WNBA.
protected. Yes,
You gotta do. This is what you gotta do with that. I'll give you the answer. They have to do what the NBA did. They can't look up to the NBA to help them out because the difference in the WNBA and the NBA is men's and women's.
mhm,
It took men. Remember, they were on their way out before Magic Johnson and Bird came. That's
mhm,
when the NBA boomed right then. And then after Magic and Bird, it was Jordan.
yeah,
We just saw from all of the years that they were grinding, getting those names. Remember the swoops, everybody we were talking about? They're not
yeah,
on that level where they're just seeing the Caitlyn and Angel Reese. And remember, we were talking about
mhm,
last year how that's bringing that Bird and Magic to the game right now. We
yeah.
watched the whole finals last year and updated every day. I think all it is timing. It's
It's
timing. It's
time.
not no. It's not. I don't think it's nobody's hating on them. I think nobody. If anybody's hating on them, they're not watching them. They're
exactly,
not
and that's
enjoying it.
that's the other part. And then you have people talking about some okay, let's forgetting Asia got a whole freaking shoe out here. Asia have been the defensive player of the year, champion. But this is y'all want to push this whole narrative right here, and then you have
Home
people
game
who
sold out. Add that on in there. Home game sold
exact
out for
home
the
game
year.
sort of, home
That's
game sort
major to
out.
the sport. That's major to the sport.
You you have a city who has backed that Vegas backed that team so much that Vegas lost the pick because the city wanted to help support the players in that
Uh huh.
for that team.
Yep. Yep.
And that's where the other thing you have people who are talking points. You have like and and this is a whole nother rant as and the sad part about it is when people go, oh, it doesn't come down to race and whatnot, and it unfortunately, yes, it does, because at the end of the day, you have a young black girl who's being targeted by folks who aren't fans of the game,
Mm-hmm.
who aren't. They've both of these players have said they don't dislike each other, they respect each other's game, but you have people who are not fans, who are not necessarily who are making it hard for both of these players. One a
And
little
social
more
media.
so in
And
social
social
media, one a
media.
little so more so, and then the social media aspect. This is where the RG3 thing comes in. This is where the RG3 thing comes in because RG3 made a very blanketed statement, which I think was irresponsible on his part.
Mm-hmm. What he say?
His blanketed statement was, "Oh well, I know hate when I see it. I can see the hate in her eyes, and she's ghetto and da da da." And he was doing all the hand movements, kind of mimicking what you see a girl from who's unapologetic. If you from the
Hood.
hood, the
You talking
projects,
about a hood
whatnot,
girl?
you
A hood girl?
country country girl, you got a little bit of
Hood.
swagger with you.
That's that hood. That's
But
that hood.
but see, the problem was he's doing all of this, and his wife was in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she was kind of kikiing and half and whatnot, clapping and kind of insinuating that it, the way her attitude and whatnot was, the words cannot form, but it just wasn't, it didn't make sense. And when Ryan Clark said something about it, and Ryan Clark said to him, what you cannot do is you can't have the same conversations that maybe you and I can have or you and your daughter can have. You know what I'm saying? Because you are raising a young black lady, so you have to not only teach her how to navigate this world as as a African American African American, but you have to teach her how to, you know, navigate herself as a woman so that she doesn't, she knows how to handle and hold herself up high. And
Mm-hmm.
the things that may be, said to her or against her because she is a black woman. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he said. And if you go and look at some of RG3's past statements, he makes a lot of statements that are,
That's why Randy Moss don't sit by him. Yeah, you're 100%
yeah,
right. Yeah, you're 100% right.
and
But
and
see,
that's
like,
what Ryan Clark said. And Ryan Clark, if go back if you get the chance to watch the clip, and Ryan Clark insinuated that, and then RG3 came back with a whole nother crash out. Oh, you're talking about my family. No, Ryan Clark actually said your wife. He said you use your wife's skin tone,
mm-hmm.
and that's how you portray her. That's how you advertise her. And Ryan Clark says, I've met her. I've talked to her. I believe she's more than that.
Right. I
And
believe
but
so
that's
too.
how you use her. And it's like you as a
You're gonna Malika Andrews the thing. You're gonna bring out the worst part in two situations and don't put anything else that she's done, who she is, outside of that right there in that moment because of what's seen in that moment. Now, I don't know any black person that gets real mad and sits still and just looks real furious eye to eye with someone like that. So the gestures or whatever, I can understand that right there. And what I'll say with that,
exactly.
and how big they blew it up.
It didn't help. It
Remember,
didn't help the
remember,
situation.
but remember, like they gotta get thicker skin for it too in the WNBA
That may be,
because
and that's true.
without social media, remember Magic and Bird were thrown right into that, and it couldn't be
That's true.
more of a racist time
That's true.
during that time. It was
That's
in
true.
the open. It was in the newspapers. It wasn't
Mhm.
hidden at all. They were telling these people this. They were calling them daily, giving them death threats. So
Mhm.
the way that I see it, I don't see it as no, y'all need to toughen up. No, I see it as this is the world that we live in. I can't
They,
give them nothing that we didn't take as men, or that wouldn't be fair. That would be one sided because women fought for their freedom, their independence. This is what comes with that. And being independent, where's your protection? It has to come from you. Like I
but at
said,
the
you can't
same
put this
time, the
on. You can't put
teams.
this. You're right, but you can't put this on the NBA for direction because who guided them through those times when it was that rough, and they had real racism at hand. They grew and they developed. They even branched out and bought the women on along with them. There wasn't no league overseas like that really that was advertised for women. They could play overseas, but it wasn't advertised or anything like how the
It wasn't advertised
WNBA
to the
is.
public, but when you were in school, my cousins played. So when they were in college and getting recruited from overseas and learning how to get overseas. So whereas it wasn't mainstream like it is now, where you know that you could go behind the scenes, those who knew they could go. And you're right,
No, they
there
knew.
was
All
no,
of them knew. That's what I said. I'm not saying
yeah,
they didn't go. I'm saying none of that
the
were advertised like the
yeah,
WNBA from start to now. It's a
yeah,
growing process. Even
it
overseas,
is.
you look at it, their games and everything over there is being bigger. We're even, what is it? They're talking about bringing WNBA games playing against overseas games and
I would
NBA
love
All
it,
Star
like some
games
of the
and stuff
FIBAs,
like that.
and if anything, they would do that and use Unrivaled, use the Unlimited one as a G League.
Spread it
That
out.
would, because that's the other problem. You have all these teams, like the commissioner is herself plays a large part in this because
Hmm.
you are the face of the league. You are the brains and stuff behind the league. You are the guiding force.
That's right. Remember,
But
she
the
got to she got to present that to that board though before she makes any final. You know,
and but what is the hidden thing is what are you presenting? Because if that's the case, you like I said, my issue is you knew some of this stuff was going on last year. You should have started having this is a bit okay. We see what's going on. How do we start putting some things in effect so that when the season starts, we can start the season and we have some things in place? Just saying I have a no hate campaign. How do you okay? So you have a no hate. What are you doing to help implement? What are you doing? What are you helping your players? What are you helping the players? How are you helping the coaches? How are you help as a league as women? Because at the end of the day,
they're letting them play on non-segregated teams, and they're getting paid to play basketball. That's all they can help. That's all any sport
and
can help any gender do to do what they're gonna do. It's up to them the rest of the way. That's
the
all. Them and
gender
fans.
at this point is not the issue. It's the protection of the players and you have granted you're gonna have dirty plays, you're gonna have dirty players, you're gonna have fans who are not like I said, elevators
But
don't go up to the
but
to the top floor.
how can we police that on both stages? Because remember, this happened worse and worse times, and it's still going on in the NBA as well. It's
That's
been
but and
players
that's
it's
gotta
just
be
been it's a lot of WNBA players that haven't even been blacklisted as much as NBA players that we don't even know what happened to them because they went against the politics of the NBA. The protection is up to whether you agree with your contract, go with it, and that's going to come with bumps and scrapes. That's going to come with wins and losses. That's going to come with hate mail, death threats, all of those things.
but when you have these two and then nobody's this, you have two who, yes, they're like the Larry Bird and whatnot, but Bird and Magic played the same position.
Hmm.
You have two who play totally different positions, totally different things, and the way that they're being used, unfortunately, and I blame the NCAA for the way I blame the NCAA for fueling it, and I blame the WNBA for running with it, for running with the narrative instead of just going, okay, Let's see how she stacks up against these guards. Let's see how she stacks up against these forwards.
But see,
I blame them
I
for
don't think they're
running with
comparing them
the
as
narrative.
position. I don't think they're
No,
comparing them as
they're
position.
comparing them as players. They're comparing
Yeah,
them as people. They're comparing them as so one whereas one could be aggressive and one cannot. When at the end of the day they are both competitive basketball players.
it's almost like when LeBron was being compared to Carmelo Anthony. They don't play the same position. It's
And
all
exactly.
it's a bunch of different things, but you got to use what sells to make the money.
And unfortunately, what sells to make the money, and unfortunately, is you're hurting two people in the process who, at some point, it's
You
gonna
see,
get to them, and you're gonna
so
get
now
the emotions that you get.
so now you see what. Remember, is certain players that got in serious fights. Remember the Malice in the Palace and all of these things right here.
Yeah, I
This
remember.
is
Look, Mad Max was a
but
look, and folks don't remember Mad Max in Houston.
but
Man,
remember
Akeem
when
Olajuwon had the free. That man probably ain't got no hair now because he had to deal with Mad Max.
right and remember what we saying. They're on that rise right now. They're just on that level. It's
So
gonna get better, but remember, you can't police something you don't know yet. This is the first
that's true.
time it was rough last year, but it wasn't crazy. And like what me and you said, I said when she did that her retaliation, it was a little bit of I don't like you in that get up. And I'm not saying she was acting hood or anything like that, but she was going after her. Caitlyn turned her back and walked off.
And that's the other part I don't like. Because Caitlyn has done stuff like that in the past. Stand on it. Stand on it.
What?
Stand
But
in
when you
it.
see somebody jump up off the ground like that, ready to fight, what are you standing for or
Look,
standing on? Wait. You standing on a fight? Because that's all
no,
that's going to
I'm
stand there.
standing
No,
because
no,
I'm a dare you.
no. Because women will say that now. But when that girl sat there in her face and the other girl came in, and hit her in the eye, and she got put out of the league like Rudy Tomjanovich, then what? Oh, that's what she get. She shouldn't have pushed her down in the first place. She didn't push her. That was a fair foul. That's why it isn't flagrant or anything like that. That was
It,
a hands below the waist, below the neck, below the shoulders.
and they did
And
Kennedy
she's
dirty for
bigger.
that.
Look, and she's bigger than
And
her
that's the
for
problem.
that.
And they're like, oh,
But if she didn't walk off, the first thing Angel Reese would have done when she got up was shoved her chest to chest. They were right there. She walked off
yeah.
to let her know. When she saw that she was all right, you saw it. Then when she saw how she got up, you saw her then start walking up. It wasn't no, yeah, I'm going to stand. No, what is standing on what? That you fouled
I,
somebody? In the
no, I'm
NBA, do
saying
you see
you.
somebody stand there on that?
Yes, you've
That's
seen it
taunting.
before.
Look, that's
And
with
they
who?
do it though.
That's taunting. No, and you get a technical.
But they do. But
No,
still,
no,
they do it.
and you see
But they do it.
Draymond do that. You see
Draymond do it
Rasheed
all.
Wallace do that. But that's not the type of
Yep.
player that neither one are.
That's true. And like I said, I don't think I don't think her yes it was over top. At the same time, I don't think it was over top because if you watch the clip with her, I think hers was more over the fact because the way her wrist flipped back because she had just had surgery.
Her wrist didn't flip back. If you look,
It did.
I'll show you. I'll show it to you again. Her
Let's
wrist
look
didn't
at it
flip back.
again
We will because
because
when
her
you
arm
flop,
came back.
when you do what LeBron James does, and you just throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. When you land, you're not protecting yourself from your fall. You throwing
No.
your hands in the air and waving them like you just don't care. We can't help you from that. We can't help you from that. What protects a player from that kind of, you know?
But it's just it's the
We'll go back to that good angle. See her looking at her?
yeah I
No,
see that yeah.
wait. Do you see how she's looking at her? She's not taunting her or anything. But look at Angel Reese already right after the foul, jumping up, ready to. Here we go. Here we go.
And like I
Here we
said,
go.
the same. If you go and find Asia, that's what I said. This is where I get where the debate comes in because Asia Wilson did the same thing last year, and it nobody batted an eye. But because it's Angel and Caitlyn, everybody's got a think piece and a freaking dissertation.
But see, I didn't when Asia got fouled, she didn't do the flailing. She got
Oh,
fouled.
she got fouled, but she got no. She got fouled. She jumped up and was headed straight there, straight to give
No,
the
no,
girl
I
a
didn't
piece of
say
her
that. I
mind.
didn't. What I was saying
And
by
that's what
flailing.
I'm talking about. I'm
No,
talking about the reaction.
no. The flailing That's not what I'm talking about. How she got up. The flailing is watch how she throws her arms and body on that foul. Look at how much bigger
You
she
have to
is than
sell
her.
it.
No,
You also
and
have to
see,
sell the foul.
so when you're doing that, when they can clearly see, look, that's not that much. And look at her wrist. There was nothing wrong with her wrist on that at all. There was nothing wrong with it. That was a used tail to sell that. Look at her wrist. Look at both of them. She threw her hands. There was nothing wrong with her wrist. That's debunked. That's not even. Look at that. And she tried to pull her on that angle. Look at her. She tried to pull her with her. That's what
I
happened.
would have pulled. Yeah,
Exactly. You would have, and that's not
yeah.
fair. That's not fair. But this is where
But
what I'm
that's how
talking
you.
about
Yeah,
makes a whole lot of sense versus you jumping up to fight somebody that's stopping you from scoring. When you even said it to start off the rant, I
yeah.
was taught that you do.
To
Yes,
not.
you do. And when you do that, you wasn't
Mm-hmm.
taught to taunt somebody. So when you see
No.
them getting up, running up the fight, you get out of there because you got the rest of your game to go. You
I
got the
guess.
rest
So
of your
I.
game to go.
I will give you that. I will give you that. I'll give you that.
Like
I'll give you
she
that.
she really I understand what you're saying. A foul is a foul, and everything that they're going through, it really is true. And it's
And it's a
like,
lot of a lot of it, like I said, and a lot of it boils down to the extra outside noise
yep,
that's accompanying the whole situation. And you have one person, unfortunately, who got the bulk of no matter what is done. You have one person who's made who and unfortunately is Batman and Joker.
yep.
One person is being made the Joker, and one person is being made to be Batman when they both play aggressive style basketball, and neither one of them are in the same position. And you're having people put one against the other,
But
like
see,
one is better than the other, and that is in
that's life
when it
though. That's
when it
life.
comes.
That's life.
But
It's
that's
always
life. But at the same time,
the only reason that start hurting people is when they started giving out eighth place trophies. No,
everybody does not
no,
need
no.
a
Look, look,
participation
no, look.
trophy.
When you don't win and you lose, that makes you get better, and you don't make excuses. You get
Hmm.
better and you win. If Jordan would have got a trophy for all the times they beat him up and he
The man didn't even
lost,
make his high school team the first time he tried out.
exact. And if he would have just accepted and got the trophies for that instead of going back and working and working and working, there
Hmm.
wouldn't the game of the NBA wouldn't be what it is right now. You have those
Mm.
players like you said, the villain, they will villainize you as well
And
as
they
they
make it
will make you
hard
the
for,
savior.
and they make it hard for people who are actual fans to
That's the
really
but
enjoy the
see,
game.
but if you a real fan, you gonna enjoy it the way that you enjoy it. You ain't gonna let
I'm
that
a watch.
outside
I
smoke
watch
rock with
hands
you.
down through and through the whole freak. Like I said,
And you coming
it
with facts with them on there. You coming with
and it
facts so they
ki-
can say that bull crap they want to
and
say.
it co- and it overshadowed the start of the league. It overshadowed New York winning their home opener, getting their rings. It overshadowed Kelsey Plum scoring 34 points, I believe it is, with the Sparks and coming out and really doing things. It overshadowed the fact that Tahina Papau, who was a rookie, came out of Dawn's daycare. She started with the Atlanta Dream, her and Alicia and Ryan in the front court. It overshadowed the Valkyries, even though they lost their home opener. The fact that they sold out that game.
So right now you can't talk about the WNBA or the NBA. You got to talk about the media again.
The
This
yeah,
isn't the
no. So I
teams
said the media. It's not.
because
It's the me. This is the. That's why I said I blame. When I say I blame the college and WNBA, it's not the entities itself. It's the media. The those who do their PR and everything. Those who ran with the narrative that overshadows everything else.
what else are you going to make money off of if you one of these beat writers or you one of these headliners out here? What else you got?
Look,
You got
that's
all of
my
these other
rant. Look,
things.
that's
No,
my
you're
rant
right.
for.
You hey,
That's
look,
my like
I'm not mad
it's
at you at all, T. Look,
like
I'm
I
not mad.
said.
Look, I just
I
wanted to talk you down from it a little
Like
bit.
I said,
That's all.
when I look, because when I saw everything was going on, I was like, when we going to lie? My husband goes, "You okay?" No. When we, I'm like, I got to rant real quick. I'm like, I know he gonna be like, "Uh-oh." She'd asking, "Uh-oh, wait a minute, what she got?" But that's my rant. I'm hoping that now with the two of them, both saying it's a basketball play, and granted, let everybody get past it. What I do need them to do though, as a league and whatnot, and this is with all the arenas and with every sports team. If you see, the fans are getting disrespectful, the fans are doing stuff, and they're doing things and putting players in danger, they need to have secure enough to where they can make sure that does not happen in their stadiums. And
You know how
that's how they're going to do that. I don't know.
the
And that's
NBA
with
fixed
all
that.
sports.
You know how
How?
the NBA fixed that?
How?
When Dennis Rodman and Isaiah Thomas said that if Larry Bird was a black person, he'd be just another player. They made both of them sit down in the interview and talk it out. That was the end of that right there. They still had their racism. They still did that. And that was what they did for it. They don't have them two sitting down. They don't have them two in any situation coming together. You shaking your head no as if it won't work.
No, no,
But
no,
that's
no, no,
but
no.
that's what they
I'm
did
not
because
saying no, it wouldn't work. I'm just saying, yeah, it's just that, and then they
that's the
gotta
best they can do. That's the best they can
is,
do, and show the
I
fans,
yeah,
yo, cool out. This is a sport, and let them do it. Like
yeah,
remember the first thing they did. Well, what they did after that is what Bird and Magic when they did the Converse commercial together. You got to bring them together instead of doing that. And this wasn't social media. This was
actual
the
media.
actual media. You know, all that they really
Mhm.
had. And we can do this with these commercials. I'm pretty sure both of them with Nike, right?
I believe so.
So, you know, it's that easy. Remember when Nike had the commercial with all their players in one commercial like that?
Yeah, and
Magazines and
something's
all
got to
kinds
be,
of
but
things.
they won't, and that's the media because they won't do because, like you said, it's more money to put them against to make it controversial
Well,
than
let's
to
do
actually
this.
show.
Let's do this. We're just bringing this out. WNBA players, if y'all feel disrespected, we need to get y'all on the Hater Debate Show so we can block the hate and debate it all and let them know if we can all just chill and do our thing, we can
Just
ride the
play
king this,
ball.
man. We can all get
Just play
along, man.
ball. Cause
That's
I
all we
like
want to see.
exactly because the season just started and they got some good. There's some good talent that came out of school this year. You got
There is.
Isaiah James. You got Sanai Rivers. You got Centron. Centron did her thing a couple nights ago.
Yes, yes, yes.
You got is Pow Pow when they played the Dream and go back. Y'all can see the clip. Caitlin pushes off on Pop Pop, pops a three. Pop Pop said, okay. Came down the court, sidestepped her, shuffle step back, and put up a same three in her face.
I know how to
That's
play
what,
this game.
yeah, exactly. And it's just, the season just started. So for them, for all of this, the R&B starting to overshadow that, it makes it, like I said, for real fans, the real people who want to sit there and debate, it's like, let's debate the facts. Let's not talk schematics. Let's not talk what ifs. Let's not talk, listen, let's talk
No, T.
what they do.
We ain't giving them our show. That's what we do on here, T. They can do all that. That's why they come to see us, T. That's
What I'm
why they
saying,
come to
what I'm
see
saying,
us.
what I'm saying. Don't
We
sit there
ain't
if
bringing
you
that
do this. Listen,
narrative that they
no,
bringing out here.
they can just
We
come
ain't selling
debate here.
tickets. Yeah,
They
we
can
ain't
come
selling
debate
tickets.
here.
That's what we need them to do.
We can come debate here. But it is like I said. That is my rant. Y'all don't like my take? Come debate me.
We'll be back
Hate me if you
tomorrow at
want
the
to.
same time. You already know, and that'll be the extra if you want that smoke. But we're gonna transition over. We got 3 players to talk about before we get out of here, man.
Ooh,
The
my
first one,
boy,
we got Fred Warner. 3
highest paid
years,
linebacker.
3 years, 63 million. Highest paid linebacker right now. If you
My
feel like I
Niners,
feel,
baby.
I think he deserved it. I think he
Fight,
deserved it.
fight us if you want to. He
And
deserved he deserved every bit of that contract.
I think they did that as if they wanted to put a middle finger up to Dre Greenlaw, as if, look,
Yeah,
if you was
hello,
on this level, we would have paid you.
hello.
You was
They
hurt,
did, they did that
and
because they was
you're
like, you
hurt
know what?
now.
We gotta. That's right, cause he did get hurt. He is hurt.
Pectoral muscle, we don't know when you're coming back.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
We gonna just keep it on rolling. You know what I'm saying? But real players get paid. We got Kittle
Exactly.
stamp. Matter of fact, go ahead before I move on. What's your take on that right there? Because I love it. We drafted
I
him.
love it.
He's been
I
great.
love it.
I mean,
I
come on,
love
man.
it because it shows. It's the same thing kind of with Navarre Bowman,
Yeah.
Smith, Joe Staley. It runs along those lines
Patrick
of
Willis.
Willis. It runs along those lines of longevity, loyalty to you. You loyal to me. I'm be loyal to you, and we gonna make it do. We gonna make it do what it do. This marriage is gonna work in
Right.
some way, shape, fashion, or form. We ain't always gonna agree, but we gonna come together at the end of the day, and that's
Right.
what it gives to me.
And T, it's some of those players on our team, and I know he's one of them, that just seem like they're 49ers for life.
Exactly.
It's certain ones that you wanted to, like Debo. Man, I was watching their 2023-2024 run to the Super Bowl the other night. I'm a pain freak. I always cut it off at the overtime. I don't go no further than that, but I
Exactly.
was just looking at that team and how the pieces just all fit. But the
That was
guys
Kyle's
that are
fault.
right, right. And the guys that's not there, I don't know.
I
But
thought I thought Debo would be one of them, but Kittle was one. Kittle and Fred are two that I was like, I can't see them
I definitely
anywhere
thought Debo
else.
was there, especially by how good him and Kyle was.
Yeah, I didn't
And
see that one.
he asked for a way out, man. But it's all good. I got nothing but love for him. I love him straight from South Carolina out there.
Yeah, that's
I think
he's
he's
a
gonna do great with Jaden Daniels, JD
he
5. I think he's
is
gonna do
he is.
great
I'm
good out
actually
there.
looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing him because the NFC East is gonna be
Yeah,
something to contend with. That's gonna be something to contend with. I'm ready to see how that's going to. And with Jaden being such a young quarterback, I think Debo being out there gives them that veteran
yeah. Him,
perspective
him,
out there to kind of help bring some of
him
that
and old
together.
Shady out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that kind of helps bring some of that together. It's gonna be. I'm so glad that they signed Kittle and extended his.
yeah,
Um,
man. He
I
got
think Kittle is a
he
he's
got four
a
years. He got 4 years, 76 million, 40 million guaranteed, man.
Kittle is a unique individual. As whereas yes, when you think great tight ends, you think Grunk, you think Tony Gonzalez. You
Shannon
know what I'm
Sharp,
saying? Shannon Sharp. You think
Antonio
about those.
Gates,
One Davis, one was Vontae a
Antonio
tight
Gate,
end?
Antonio
Gates.
Gates. Yeah,
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think of those type of guys, and Kittle is a great tight end, but he also is infectious, and he brings that lightheartedness that I think when you're in a competitive sport, you need somebody who has that lighthearted type of attitude to
and he
help
will
keep
wrestle you.
everybody, and that's what he does. And I think it is, and with that veteran leadership that he has, him and even Juice, because the two of them together.
I don't got much great to
No,
say about him. I'll be
break
glad
no
if
no
he was gone, man. He lucky he
maybe,
came back for cheaper.
but but
He
when you
can't
think of
block well.
attitude,
I mean, he
but when you
doesn't do
think of
anything right really like that.
when you think of attitude, when you think of attitude, and I'm talking attitude and collaborative, because when I say that,
Yeah,
because
good in the locker
you
room, but he's
and
he's
good
the
is
one that he's the one that's voting to get the reporters out of the locker room. You're trying to change the game, man. You're a diva,
the
and you don't do
reporters.
look. You're only making it to the Pro Bowl because you're probably one of the only fullbacks that's out here,
That's
and
how
you're trying to get the media out the
you
locker room,
can't
and
get
you
the media
barely
out
do
the locker
anything.
room.
Yeah, come
I
on, man.
now
Who are you?
do I think the media needs to be give them a little bit before they let them get dressed a little bit before
No,
you have
no.
them
Now
half naked
look,
walking around.
now we're changing the game for millionaires. No, it ain't no give you no time. You know what time it is. You're on the
half
clock.
naked
No, no,
half
you're on
naked
the
walking
clock.
around.
You decided to do that. You knew the media was coming. You did that so they wouldn't talk to you. That's why they get fined. Remember what one of the best would say?
Marshawn
Exactly.
said, I'm
I'm
only here
only
so I don't
here
get
so I
fined.
but guess where he was? Exactly. We're not changing the game for you.
So
You're in $1 billion league and you're a millionaire because of the league. You can play in any other league. I bet you won't do the same thing. We're not doing that for you. No. But him, I ain't giving him nothing. Back on Kittle, yes, everything. He deserves it.
they gotta do everything.
To me, he's the best tight end out of all of the tight ends that we name. He's faster. He blocks a lot better. If he was on any
Hmm.
other team, he'd have more touchdowns. He'd have more
Yeah,
receptions. I mean, defensive backs hate to see him coming.
they sure do.
Linebackers can't keep up with him. The guy,
And
come
they
on,
sure
man.
do.
He came in with what, 4.5 speed?
Kittle is everything that his confidence is well deserved. He is everything that he says he is.
He played like he grew up around a whole bunch of wild brothers and
Just a
mixed
little
crowd,
bit.
man. You know what I
Just a
mean?
little bit.
Some
Yeah.
real tough brothers and some other mixed crowd in there, man.
He
It
he
was
he
some
he
toughness
grew
out
up
there where he
he
came from.
grew up with some folks that said, you know what, we playing outside on the gravel with no shoes on type
Yeah,
of
let's go. Let's go.
type of
You
situation.
get in where you fit in, man.
Pretty
Get in where you
much.
fit in.
Pretty pretty much. I'm still a little iffy on the Brock extension, but you know,
Well, that's what I was gonna say before leading into it. See, you jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun, T. You can't just blend them. The Brock Purdy extension has been mentioned. No,
throw a
it's
temper
been
tantrum. No,
mentioned,
I know.
but it hasn't been signed or agreed upon.
Oh,
This
okay.
man asked for 65 million. So the 265, which was 53 per year, 181 guaranteed, isn't even agreed upon yet.
Oh, okay.
It was just announced.
Mm,
Yes, you remember
mm,
what I said? Not 40 and 1 cent.
no, but
I,
you
I
know
I
what?
can't do that with that arm. I was watching again the Super Bowl thing. I loved how he played on great days. I love how he played when the weapons were there. But last year, boy, that wasn't it.
I'm still tripping on the fact that he said he had trouble throwing when the ball when it was raining.
Yeah, you
So
didn't have
where
no
did you
problem with
grow up
saying that.
at,
And he also said 60% of the time he can't see over the line.
sir? Where was your play?
My
Mm.
brother, we supposed to trust in that with
I would have
55
said.
million a
I
year.
wouldn't have said. Yeah. Mm-mm.
And they was talking about something like a no trade clause in there. Man, come on, man.
Come on now,
Mm-mm.
dog.
Y'all really tripping.
Come
Okay,
on,
let's talk about
man.
some. We got to get the rest of it, but I got a question. How you feel about some of these draft picks and seeing some of the clips out of training camp?
Oh, I love
Like, are you
all of them. I
are
love.
you excited for the season?
Oh man, I'm definitely excited. I watched some of the practice because if you don't check them out, check out Grant Cohn. They talk nothing but Niners on his show. Him
Yeah, I
and
love. I follow him. Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah,
him and
I
him and
watch it.
Larry Krug. I love what they're doing, especially when
Yeah,
Grant Cohn does it with his father, the Cohn Zone. But
yeah.
they keep it up there, and he's part of the press. He's a writer, so he gets to be out there, gets to ask them questions and everything like that. But he was saying a lot of the things that I was saying that a lot of the other podcasters were against. They said you got two run stoppers, but they can't sack the quarterback. If they can't run the ball
Mhm.
and because they're getting stopped on the run, that's when Nick Bosa is activated. Nick Bosa
Mhm.
isn't a run stopper.
Nope.
He is the sack man.
He's a
So
quarterback's nightmare.
you draw up anything with the line that they got. Stout, what's his name? Alfred Collins, Mikael Williams. Those are three pieces, man.
And you see who's coming back. You see who's coming on the coaching staff, right?
Man, Salah is back.
Not even Salah. Not just Salah. Staley.
Which one?
Joe Staley
Oh, we in
is
there,
coming.
man.
Joe Staley's coming back to help coach the offensive lineman.
Yeah, we in there, man. I know he saw what we got and was like, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Cause
So
I
he's
mean,
coming. He's
they
coming
picked
on the
up a
coaching
couple,
staff. So
and
I'm.
then also what was his name? CJ, not CJ, but DJ. I'm not sure, but the offensive lineman they were saying he didn't actually agree all the way yet. So we don't know what's going on with him. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. We still got a long time. We
We
still
got.
got a
I'm
long
waiting to
time.
see preseason. Cause I'm waiting to see some. Like I said, I want to see how. I would love to see what Jacksonville is going to do with Travis
Hmm.
and how Travis and Etienne, how that core is going to work.
Hmm.
I'm ready to see the battle in Cleveland to see how that lineup is going to come. Who I think is going to be a sleeper, and people can agree with me or disagree with me. If he, if everything goes well and he makes the 53 million roster, I think Shiloh's going to be a sleeper and going to be real good for Tampa.
This is my thing. They drafted the man. Well,
Shiloh
he's
was
in.
undrafted.
Look, exactly. That's why I stopped myself. That's why I stopped myself. We said that on the episode before. The man is in the NFL because he could play football.
Yeah,
There's not 5 players on that team at his position that could beat him. He'll make that
I don't
53 man
believe so. I
roster.
don't believe so, and I think he's going to be a sleeper and whatnot. Hi, doggy. I think he's. I think it's going to be like I said. It's going to be interesting. I already see what Gentry's going to do. I want to see what Cam Ward is going to do. The draft class was not a bad draft class. No matter, actually, through all seven, was it 7 rounds? Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a lot of good players that came out of every round.
Really is.
So there wasn't really this was not really a bad draft class.
No, and I think the craziest thing about it, I know it was some great drafts all around the league, but I think the NFC West did a lot of damage in there with the Rams doing what they did, with the Cardinals doing what they did. There was actually sleeper picks with what the Seattle Seahawks had done. I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody and the Niners included. I think all of them on the West. I think they did pretty good for a division.
Hmm.
Not to take away from any of the other ones because, like you said, I think it was a pretty good overall draft. One to
It
seven.
was. It was. I mean, my favorite part was doing round one. I'm sorry. It's a good thing we was all everybody was adults because I think I had more fun watching the draft
Yeah.
and taking shots and just
Yep. Yeah, we
and
had a
going
good
through it.
time with that, man. I can't
It
wait till we
was
do the NBA one, man. We're gonna
that
have
was
some fun,
good.
man. Yeah, that was the
Like I
first
said,
time I actually
I'm
sat through an an NFL draft too.
I'm trying to get to Tampa
Oh
because
yeah, you already know. We
that's the
there.
closest the Niners again.
Y'all better know what time it is. We are on our way to Tampa, man. We
My
are
home
going.
my homegirl lives in Tampa because that's why I moved up here from Tampa.
Yeah.
So I got my friends who still work. I'm like, hey, I done called all of them. I was like, one of my friends still works for the company we work for, and they get tickets. I'm like, all right, look, I will. You. This is how many I need. You
Yes.
tell me, and I will send you the funds.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know as well because yes, I
Because
will as well. I will because you saw the ones that old boy sent, the 145 ones. That's not
yeah,
bad, especially for
no.
mid range area. But if you can get better ones, I definitely
So
will do it.
I will take. That's a 6 hour drive.
Yeah,
6 hours
yeah,
and
that ain't
20
nothing.
minutes.
And my best friend lives down there in Jacksonville, so I can just camp out there, take
Let's not
my
even talk.
time, and going down there a couple hours early. But we
Let's not even
definitely gonna make
talk.
a field trip
Let's
out
not
there.
talk about Jacksonville. I gotta travel down there in July for a track meet. The things we do for these children.
I'm not lying, man. You better believe it. Shout out to the kids, man. Shout out to them. You know they
So
doing things all across the board, sports and well, athletically and academically, man. Shout out to the Double A
all y'all
Academy,
parents
man.
out there, get ready. I know summer getting ready to come up. These kids getting ready to get out of school. Please get your kids in something productive, be it camp, sports, something to keep their minds active and keep them active. My grandma always said, idle hands are devil's playground.
That's
But
right.
keep them active and keep them engaged in something because there's so much out here that can distract them.
I
Keep them
totally,
active.
I totally agree. I got one more thought before we get up out of here, T.
Shoot.
Kaylee Heckle has been signed to UConn
I
Huskies.
saw that.
You know, Mom Dukes
I
had to hit
saw
me
that.
up
I
with it.
know. I bet she did.
She hit me up like a little bit before we got on. I was like, "What? Oh, okay, okay."
I saw that. I thought that was.
We gonna be back in it, man. I
And
think our
that's gonna
squad's
be.
gonna be. Look, I think our
That's gonna be
squads.
interesting.
Yeah, we gonna be back in it. Both of us
I'm
made some
waiting.
good pickups, some great
The
pieces, and some great coming
overall,
back
so the
people.
transfer portal was very. I think a lot of teams got some very good. Like
Yeah,
Ole Miss picked up a few. Carolina picked up a
LSU.
few. UConn picked up a few. LSU picked up a few. I'm that LSU violation. Like I said, I still have my theory, my opinions on that. I'm waiting to see the game. That's gonna be a chippy game.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a chippy game.
it really is. I'm
They
all for it. I'm all for
Oh,
it,
it's
man.
gonna be a chippy game. I just hope that the developmentally that move ends up being a great move for her because you have the narrative that Dawn doesn't develop guards. Well, you got two starting with the Atlanta Dream right now. You know what I'm saying? And Alicia Gray and Pow Pow. But you have also you have other players. But my thing is
But see, you gotta
Kim.
also address this with that. Pow Pow is a different player,
That is
and
true. Then
developmentally, she's gonna develop
that's
on her own because
oh
she don't
exactly.
stop.
Exactly.
She
So that's
don't
what I'm saying.
stop.
I'm hoping that the move will
And that
work in
that
her
story,
favor
yeah, I hope that story is
versus
not true. That narrative, I hope that's not
yeah,
true because I don't see why not. Dawn was a guard herself. She does put a lot in
exactly.
her bigs, but I don't think that's just her necessarily working with the bigs.
No,
So with the people saying that, I think they need to back that down because she's got a bigs coach. So if anything, they're
exactly.
giving them more respect than what she's given on the
Then
guards because I don't
exactly,
see her being stupid enough to not coach up her guards. Maybe they're not
exactly.
listening. We don't know that. So all that behind
I,
the scenes stuff, we can't put
is
that on there.
no. I'm saying that's the
No, I
narrative,
know
but
you're not,
yeah,
but yeah, and that is,
yeah,
but you know that
yeah,
comes from people that try to put that on there, and I'm telling
exactly.
them, y'all can't say that because they got different
The
coaches
woman was
for
the
for
yeah.
different positions.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
The woman has been she was instrumental in developing the league. She was instrumental in doing things, and she built that team. Did not come overnight. That reputation did not come overnight. She built that squad. A lot of people forget she's been in Carolina for a good number of years. She had to
Yep.
build that program.
7 years.
More than that, she's been there since '08.
Oh snap! Yeah, that's way more than 7 years. I didn't know that.
So she's had to build that program. So it's like I said, the narratives. Unfortunately, you have people who spin narratives, and it makes no sense. But I just hope that move will be more beneficial to her because the Malaysia is a great player.
Yeah.
She's a great player. Does she need to be disciplined a little more? Maybe. As far as learning how to her handle so that her turnover rate is not as high as her miss rate. Because if she makes half the layups or whatnot that she does when she tries to be flashy, man, that girl could probably at least be number two leading scorer.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
it's gonna be interesting to like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see how LSU does because with losing Morrow, that they lose that big in the middle. So you just have Flage is it's really guard heavy, and
Hmm.
they lost who Poa, they lost somebody else. Um, so the other Sanaya and they lost Dozier or whatever her name was, that the bigger center. So they're gonna look a little smaller, I believe. So it's gonna be the SEC is one of the hardest conferences, hands down, football and basketball. So
Yep.
it's gonna be interesting to see. That's the other thing I'm trying to get to a game at William Bryce because I've never been. I
Oh
just wanna
man.
go.
Yeah, we definitely me
I
Black
just
and
wanna
Boogie's
go.
got it. We planning on going next year.
I wanna go just because I want to. I've heard Sandstorm in the gym. I
Oh
want to
man.
hear it in the. I want to hear it on the
It's not.
field.
It's nothing like it, man. It's nothing like
I
it.
believe it, and I
Being a
just
part
want
of
to.
the wave and all of that, man. It's nothing
I
like it.
just want to hear. So that's those are my little tidbits and goals. But yeah, I thank you for letting me rant because I had to get that off of my. I had to get that off of my dome because that was.
Hey man, you made a whole lot of valid points, and I think people needed to hear that. And we made a lot of points so people can see we're not here to hate on anybody, but we're here to stop all of that. We don't
Hmm.
believe in sports that should exist, and what she was doing the whole time was explaining why and what's at stake. These people that you're fans of, you're putting them in jeopardy by doing things like that, man. So y'all
Hmm.
just keep it PG. This is sports anyway. That's not supposed to be there. You can go there, have a good time, drink your drink, or do whatever you do. But man, remember these players have families, they have kids. If they're not kids themselves, man. If
Yeah.
anything, T, run them shots out, T.
So first and foremost, I want to say we're gonna shout out the Hater Debate family, Black, Bug, Pete, Huda, the other Pete who comes. Yeah, that was a great show y'all did. I love that show.
Word, man, that was awesome.
J3, or how you
Yeah.
say it, J to the L3,
JLE3, the three.
JLE3. Yeah. So, shout out to everybody that comes through and watches. And like I said, we trying to get we try we moving. We try to move. Jump on the train before you get left.
I'm telling y'all,
Shout out
man.
shout out to Rock Bottom Studios,
Yes. Yes,
the one and
yes.
only black animation station in Soda City.
Let's get
Go get
it.
all your
Let's get it.
animation, get all your artwork. I'm coming to see you soon. I got an artist in my camp. Two of them actually. They need some guidance. They need some guidance.
We running it.
So, shout out to Breezy,
You already
Jay
know.
Breezy.
Wonder official.
That you want some beach, you want something unique. Call him. He may be blind, but that don't mean nothing. Them ears is magical. Them hands is magical. That is my blood. I'm his eyes. He's my ears. Give that man a call. You will not be disappointed.
I promise. I promise. Also, shout out to Planet Vapor for all of your vaping needs, man. 12 different locations. If you can't get with them online at www.planet.vapor.com. I like to give also a shout out to all of the members, the hosts, the co-hosts on the Hater Debate show. Man, it's love, man. We coming up on a year, y'all. We coming up on a year, y'all. We gonna knock that thing all the way off on Father's Day. I thought
Don't
it
forget
was
Blind
last
Fury.
weekend. Yeah. Oh
Don't forget
man,
Blind Fury.
that's last but definitely not least. But we're gonna have that out there then, and he also is going to be on that show. Who is that?
Mm.
Fury Bro Studios owner himself, Blind Fury, is gonna jump in, chime in, have some fun. He said he's got a couple of debates for all of us on there. So we're
Uh-oh.
gonna have us a great time out there, man. We definitely are. He's an avid
Uh-oh.
USC fan, so if y'all don't know, check it
Oh,
out. Y'all
I'm
tune
about to put
in.
my hearing aids on. I have to put my hearing aids on so I can make sure I hear everybody.
Definitely, man. We got that all coming for y'all. A whole bunch of new shows coming. Me and T got a new show coming. I got a reaction show coming. Man, we going to keep this thing going. Hater debate. The one thing we not going to do is be late or stop about it, man. Without any further ado, T, if you done, you're done, T's.
I am done. Y'all be easy, be breezy.
You know it.
Love
Peace, y'all.
yous.
Here to bring you the facts, data, and statistics up close and personal. Letting you decide if it truly is hate or debate.
Hold up, three-pointer.